Fantastic. So another episode of the SFNX video cast. My name is Chris DeLuca, Head of Marketing with SFNX. Today, our guest, Esteban Ordano, co-founder and CTO of Decentraland. Welcome, Esteban.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Fantastic. So, Esteban, maybe you can tell us, just to kind of get us started, you can tell us a little bit about your background and how you kind of got involved in kind of cryptocurrencies to start with.
Sure. So I wanted to study economics in high school, but figured out that I was kind of like good at this programming stuff. So I went to college here in Buenos Aires. I studied software engineering. I started to learn about Bitcoin from hanging out on the Y Combinator forums, the Hacker News thing. And at some point, I realized that this could grow out of the huge technical curiosity that attracted me to it, and, well, of course, the economic advantages, and the idea that money could have been run out of a peer-to-peer network that was similar to BitTorrent was like a lot crazier back in the time. So I started to dig a little deeper, applied to a job at BitPay, where I did open source. I worked in the Bitcore JavaScript library, in Copay and Insight. Then I moved out and started to do contracting for a lot of different companies in the space, and started my own ideas and projects like Streamium, which was a payment channel thing back in 2015. That was super interesting, but, well, I was expecting the Lightning Network to come up very sooner than it ended up being. And about that time, we also came up with the idea for the Decentraland.
Quick question. I'm always just kind of curious about this. What do you think you would be doing right now if you weren't involved in kind of cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin? Like, it seems like, it's kind of changed the trajectory of your life a little bit. Like, would you be in kind of a traditional finance role? Would you be working like in Silicon Valley? Or were you kind of were you looking for the thing that was going to kind of propel you into your career?
That's a really great question. I think I'd be working like on some big data company or something like that. Probably I'll be working at Google, I think.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot. I'm always just so fascinated how people, like how this has kind of changed their life. Maybe we can talk a little bit about Decentraland and how that idea kind of manifested.
Yes. So about in May or June in 2015, my friend Manu Arauz, he had been working on the DK1, the Oculus Rift developer kit, which was like way earlier, and the quality of the build was way less advanced than it is right now. And the level of immersion, though, was extremely appealing and attractive. So we figured out that this was going to improve and keep improving. We still haven't seen the VR breakup, the VR expansion and market penetration that we would have thought that we would have by now, but we knew that it's going to be big. We know that it's going to be big in a couple of years, or maybe 5 years or 10 years or something. And when that happens, if there is to be a shared social virtual world, which I think we are going to have some kind of big Google or Facebook of virtual reality, I think it will be best for that experience to not be owned by one particular big corporation, and that it rather should be open and accessible for everyone. So we started to throw around some ideas about how a blockchain could be used for this. We coded a proof of concept, which at the time I think it was one of the first NFTs after Namecoin. I don't know if you remember the idea for doing DNS similarly to Bitcoin. I think that was about the first non-fungible token out there. We played around some stuff. We created a $1 million web page, which would be kind of like one pixel represents your land in this in this virtual world that we hadn't even started to work around. But yeah, that was about the beginning of it.
So before I kind of, I have a couple questions there, but before I get into that, maybe you can just tell our viewers. Most people will know, but just a kind of broad overview of what kind of Decentraland is. You know, you touched on some things, but just for anyone maybe that's jumping in now, or just kind of a broad overview for everyone.
Yeah, so Decentraland is a shared virtual reality experience where you can own your a patch of land in this virtual world and create whatever you want on top of it, and have anyone in the world visit your parcel and experience whatever you coded for them.
Awesome. You mentioned that you haven't seen the kind of breakout with VR yet. Are you guys working with VR partners? Like, what do you expect to kind of be the catalyst in the VR realm that's gonna kind of catapult what you guys are doing? Is it a partnership problem? Is it a hardware problem?
I think it's more of a hardware problem. Like, you really need a very beefy computer to run one of the high quality HTC Vive or Oculus machines. Like, it's really just the two or three, the top of the line graphic cards that can actually run one of the headsets. But we're going to start seeing a lot of innovation in the space. There's already a tethered headset in China that you don't have to plug into any kind of like weird cable, and I think that's the beginning of the experience improving a lot, because right now there are all of these cables involved, and it's a way better experience to have only one headset. You just put it in and you are inside.
Fantastic. Maybe if you can talk a little bit about the types of content that you kind of envision people building in Decentraland on the land.
Yes. So one of the projects that I'm really looking forward is Decentraland University. A lot of folks are trying to organize a space for people to learn and share and create and experiment what all of these VR things can do, and in general, whatever e-learning thing, any e-learning experience. There's also Ethereum, which is a cyberpunk-inspired city. Someone wanted to do like a Turing test thing in the parcel where you start to ask questions to these two people, and one of them is a computer. But well, in the virtual world, nobody knows that you're a bot or a dog.
So if I've understood this right, the land is constrained, but the height of the land is not constrained, correct?
Yeah, so that was the original intent. We are starting to like perhaps set a limit in there, because there is some technological problems with having it be as high as possible. And we're looking at what are we going to do with the airspace later, but we already have some ideas, and it's going to be pretty interesting.
Fantastic. Any sense of when you guys might make an announcement, or when something might kind of roll out? You think, by the end of the year, or when you guys might crystallize that idea?
So right now we already have the SDK, the software, and anyone can go to developers.decentraland.org, actually from our website, decentraland.org, and go to the developers page. Well, you need to be a little bit technical, but if you follow the instructions, you could start building a parcel without needing to own land already, but you can start testing the technical limitations,
Right.
What are the limits of the parcels and all of that.
Fantastic. In terms of, I think I was reading that you guys are working with certain types of content partners. In terms of, maybe if you talk a little bit about, the types of content partners that you're currently working with or would like to work with, and, moving forward in the future, the types of content partners that you kind of see yourself working with.
Yeah, definitely. So right now we're approaching all of the Ethereum games that have been popping up and onboarding them to try to create a more relatable experience with their. Most of these games are related to NFTs and non-fungible tokens, collectibles. So we're welcoming them to build their experience inside of that parcel. So, for example, there's this game called Ethereum where you have these monsters and they battle each other, and you can win some castles. You're kind of like king of the hill if you won the last castle battle, and we are bringing in some castles inside of the land parcel, so you can see the monsters fight each other while you wait the Ethereum transaction to finish. And like that, there's some guy doing like a battle dome for CryptoKitties as well inside of the world, and this strategy about onboarding games inside of Decentraland, we figured is the best way to get all the technological functionality about building something inside of this virtual world, because games are about one of the most complicated things to code. You need a lot of resources and be careful about performance and audio and art direction and programming. It's about one of the hardest things to do and the most multidisciplinary.
Maybe if you could just talk a little bit about to our viewers how the token fits into the entire kind of the metaverse that you're creating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we started using Mana as a way to get land in the future, and we are now about to release a bunch of different experiments on governance. We'd like people to decide a lot of the things that we need to decide for the center. I hate to set the rules, so we're looking to have the proper tools to create lists of what are the avatars that users can use in the center, and you can use some token that you get with Mana to create a list of avatars that anyone can use in the center. Also, we're looking at perhaps building a reputation system based on the behavior and whether your other Decentraland citizens think that you've been like a good member of society, and a lot of like different ideas about curation and avatars and items that are permitted, security mechanisms to like blacklist scripts from parcels, and anything that we can do to have the world policy itself.
Fantastic. Scalability is, a problem that people often talk about, especially when it comes to not just Ethereum, but all blockchains. How do you guys kind of think about the problem of scalability? It seems like, games require, a huge amount of users. How do you think about that problem? I'm not going to kind of impose any kind of constraints on it, but how do you think about that problem, and what is your kind of potential solution to that problem? As you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. It's the hardest problem that Ethereum has right now. But there are a lot of like very smart people working on them. Within Decentraland, we had this approach that we need to take hands on this subject. Back in December, when we launched the auction for land, which allowed anyone to bid on parcels and on the parcels that they wanted to own. We did that using an application-specific state channel, which is a scalability solution that allows you to do a number of actions using only 2 Ethereum transactions, one to get into the channel and one to exit the channel. And that turned out pretty well. The user experience is amazing because you only have to sign something on MetaMask, and that's already cryptographic proof of anything that you want to do. And then our server replies with another cryptographic proof that if we misbehave, you can go to the blockchain and you can say, hey, no, this isn't working as expected, and these guys are like cheating or something like that. And then security deposit gets slashed, and you get some bounty for finding out that we haven't been playing nice. So that's something that we did last December. It was pretty interesting. I think it improves the user experience a lot. And right now we are about to use a similar idea to create a voting application that works off-chain, but it's not binding. So the idea is to cast a vote or a popular poll on some different subjects, but it doesn't have it's not binding in. No. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my battery is just.
Okay. Okay.
So we've got that voting application going on, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see what the outcome of that. And we're also like develop over January and February a plasma implementation to try it out. I think that we are still quite behind what will be acceptable for end users.
Right.
So we are still following the subject like very, very closely because it's going to be paramount for the Decentraland for Ethereum to scale.
Just a couple more questions. One, I guess, is is there any possibility of moving away from Ethereum at any point to another blockchain? Is that something that you guys have thought about? Is that at all in the cards? I'm not trying to guess one way or the other. It's just I know that some people have talked about that, so I'm just curious to know how you guys think about that.
We used to have our own blockchain for the Decentraland.
Right.
For the token sale, we hired Ethereum because there were a number of security things that will be better off paying Ethereum gas fees rather than trying to solve ourselves. Relationships with the miners, making sure the source code is working correctly. I think that Ethereum has the highest chances of success from all the general purpose blockchains out there. So I think that for the time being, I don't see a viable alternative to this.
Fantastic. One last question. The prices of all cryptocurrencies have they've leveled off since December, January, sometime earlier this year. Has that positively or negatively impacted you? As some people say, it's allowed them to concentrate on kind of building their business. There hasn't been this kind of hoopla. They could just kind of focus on building. How do you kind of think about, if at all, the effect of the kind of mania that was going on towards the end of 2017?
So we try for it not to affect us, but our token has been doing pretty fine ever since we launched it. We had a little dip for some months, but after that it was just like pretty stable or increasing in value. So I think that luckily we didn't have that problem, and and yes, it's been like we've been just building and building different things, and I'm pretty happy at the team. I'm super amazed of all the great people that I keep meeting every day, and that everybody like wants to get into this and build, and I get to know about their amazing projects and collaborate and stuff. I think it's a great place to be. The cryptographic industry, crypto economics industry. It's amazing.
Awesome. I thank you so much for being here today. If you want to direct people to your website, your Twitter page, any other kind of social channels, you can do that now so people can find you guys online or anywhere else that you kind of want to direct them.
Yes, definitely. Decentraland.org. Decentraland.org. We've got a Discord chat where we're online almost all the time, or you can send us an email. My email is esteban@decentraland.org. Welcome to our virtual world.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Esteban. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Bye-bye.
Bye.